A gentle reminder again to give students and adults your utmost respect. Our JRTC color guard will now come out, present our country's color, followed by Lillian Jones. She will sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce our very own school resource officer, Joe Carolyn, a NYPD first responder on 9/11. Please give him a hand as and welcome as he says a few words on 9/11. He will be followed by Miss Ronique Major, a teacher at our sister school, Emma E. Elementary, where President Bush was when the events of 9/11 were unfolding. Officer Carolyn.
High School. I'd like to thank Booker High School staff for arranging this ceremony. It's important that we never forget about the innocent men, women, and children that lost their lives on 9/11. In the attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City, Flight 9/11 in Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., took almost 3,000 lives. In response to the attacks, our military deployed overseas. Where deployed around the world on the global war of terrorism, where almost 7,000 U.S. troops and 8,000 U.S. civilian contractors lost their lives since the attacks. My name is Joseph Carolyn. I'm an SRO here at Booker High School. I moved here from New York to Florida with my wife and my 2 children. My wife and I are both retired New York City police detectives. I'm also retired from the military. I served 26 years in the U.S. Marine Corps and Air Force before I retired. My career in the NYPD started a year before the attacks on 9/11. On 9/11 and the months following, I spent many hours at the World Trade Center site in Staten Island, sifting through debris, looking for DNA evidence of those that died on 9/11. In December 2001, I deployed for 2 years with the Marine Corps and deployed several times after until I retired. Every precinct in New York and every fire department had a poster with all the first responders that lost their lives on 9/11. In the NYPD, we lost 23 police officers. Fire department lost 343 firefighters and EMS, and New York, New Jersey Port Authority lost 37 officers. In the NYPD's emergency service unit, we lost 14 of the 23 officers, 3 of which were at my precinct. Sergeant Michael Curtin, who was also a sergeant major in the Marine Corps, police officer John Delara, and Detective Joseph Vigiano, whose brother, firefighter John Vigiano, also died on 9/11. My Marine Corps unit lost Corporal Sean Talon, who worked for the FDNY's tent house, which was located across the street from the World Trade Center site. Since then, many more lives have been taken due to the illnesses from the toxic exposures from the World Trade Center site. I would like to thank you for taking this time to remember those who lost their lives on 9/11, and I believe that if we continue to talk about what happened on 9/11, all those who lost their lives will continue to live on in our hearts. Thank you.
Good morning. When it was announced to the district that President George Bush would be coming to Sarasota and visiting one of our schools, who would have thought it would be Emma E. Booker? We had several meetings and were sworn to secrecy until the word was official. And when the day arrived, political affiliations were non-existent. The President of the United States was coming to my hometown, to my school. And I can only imagine that Miss Emma Booker was smiling down from heaven because the president was coming to her little namesake school. On the early morning of September 1st, 2001, I arrived at school with only my ID and a lot of excitement. We walked through metal detectors. Dogs were going throughout the campus, checking for any last signs of danger. I made my way to my classroom, making sure that the guest teacher, district personnel, would be prepared for the day as well. The staff would assemble in the media center, which was transformed into a White House press room. Selected students, family, and community members were seated in rows facing the podium. The staff members would take their places behind the podium where President George Bush would eventually address the nation, not in the way in which he intended, but in the way that was necessary. We waited and waited. I remember trying to recall the agenda for the day as to how everything was to go. Something was wrong. When the intel had been collected and the information was prepared to share with the nation, President Bush informed us of the terrorist attacks. The Lieutenant Governor, Frank Brogan, and the Secretary of Education, Rod Page, addressed the assembled group. As you see, this visit was to be about rolling out a new reading initiative, and Emma E. Booker was chosen because our reading scores had greatly improved. As reality hit and the visit ended, it became a time of panic as some of my colleagues had family members in New York and were urgently trying to reach their loved ones. Parents were coming to get their children as they were afraid we would be a target as well. As a parent, I too wanted to go and get my child from daycare, but I had the responsibility of taking care of fewer than 10 kids that remained at school, a decision that every parent teacher had to make. We learned of more terrorist attacks on the United States as the day went on, and fear ensued in the nation. Fast forward 23 years. This summer, I had the opportunity to meet and speak to our former Lieutenant Governor, Frank Brogan. I was with 3 other Emma E. Booker teachers who were at Emma on 9/11. We introduced ourselves and shared our stories, and that moment with Mr. Brogan will forever be etched in my mind. I share this experience with you not only today as we remember the lives lost and the sacrifices that were made in the following days of search, rescue, and recover, but again, who would have thought that Emma E. Booker's place would be etched in history forever? And the same can be said for you. At Emma E. Booker, we have the Booker Bees. be kind, be a friend, be prepared, be positive, be a leader. The choices you make, the things you say, and can open doors for you and make you take your rightful place in history. Make every day count, make every moment count, because you matter every day. You are here on purpose for a purpose. You have a mark to leave on this world, and you have the ability to change lives. Tragedies, troubles, and traumas may happen to you and to those around you, but how you react, how you get up, and what you do will make the biggest mark on the world. Please join me as we observe a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we all give Ms. Hunley a hand? Now, with that, that does conclude our ceremony. We're going to dismiss you with your teachers to head back to class. But before we go, how can we have a hand for our new theater? You are the first students to come in this theater. With that being said, teachers, put your hands up so your students can see you, and we're going to file out from the back of the house to the front of their house. So those in the front, you can stay set. Those in the front, you can stay set.